Welcome back. We're here with George Dixon Jr., two-time or three-time chairman of the Board of Selectmen. How many times have you been chairman?
That was three times.
3 times,
Nice.
like heavyweight title belt.
I feel like I get beat up that many times.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, George. You're obviously, at this point, you don't have the big crown on your head. This is kind of probably a good time to...
But it's just, you still have a job to do. I mean, being chairman's great, I've worked with a lot of good people. But, all the boards have kind of worked together, so. Being chairman sometimes is an honor, but, after a while, you're just like everybody else. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because I think when you first ran, there had been turnover after turnover on the Board of Selectmen. I think you came in on what was probably a much younger board at that time.
Yeah.
And now you're really the steady hand that's, been
How
guiding
steady
the ship.
we are, but I've been around longer than everybody, I guess. I've been the longest serving selectman consecutively under Paul, which is, I'm in my 9th year. So, and this is, I think, his 11th year, so.
Nice.
Well, one of the things you've been well known for is, I'll call it your constituent services. People have been able to pretty much get a hold of you when things are going on. I saw you up at the North Chelmsford Vinyl Square master planning session.
Yeah, Billy Gillette did a nice job with that information, and it actually was a really impressive crowd. It was a pretty good turnout. I was impressed with the crowd. We're having one for the West Campus, which is the training school. I'm the chairman of that committee. Not that I'm the chairman. I'm on the committee. I am the chairman, but Georgie Zaharoulis has helped out tremendously, and John Edward, and there's 3, Dr. Crane, and there's 3 abutters on there, and who really, their input has been tremendous. And we and David Hedison came in and gave a presentation last week, and we have an input session on the June 6th at the Senior Center on that. And, so we're still looking for people to come up with some ideas, and the people, the abutters, through the representatives on the committee, as well as just talking to people on the street. We've had a lot of great ideas, and it'd be good to get some tax, some tax property that won the tax rolls, and also something that people can enjoy. It's an asset we've had in town. We've never been able to use it. In my lifetime. I mean, frankly, it was always either the training school, and then it was the Wang. It was tied up with Wang, and then in UMass. So, I mean, as far as the town actually using it, this would be the first time. So hopefully we can do something that's beneficial to the town, tax-wise, and, great for the people to utilize it. Maybe some walking trails, some open space, as well as whatever we put in there,
Well, I had Glenn Diggs on the show last week, and he had mentioned that there was a possible proposal for kind of a transitional senior housing facility there.
Yeah, that's been tossed around, like an assisted living, a nursing home, and even an Alzheimer's or a rehab situation. Those things have been kicked around, and there's been some over 55 housing which there are 2 55 and over associations, contiguous. And a lot of those people, some of them would like to downsize, and get into this, and especially with the taxes going up, and they're all on fixed incomes and what have you. They're saying that, they like to, maybe get smaller and pay less money or whatever. And so, nothing's cast in stone by any means. I mean, we're still, and then we have to, once we decide what we think we'd like to do, then we got to decide how we're going to finance it and pay for it. We could do a public-private, collaboration with, either choice, David, and David is very good at getting money. Paul's been very good. Paul has started doing the engineering has started, and then we're going to delineate the wetlands. There's about 35 acres in there, but probably about 24 are developable. So, it's a big piece of land. It's a very nice piece of land. It's on public transportation. I'm on the LRTA, so not that that's a big deal, but you know what I mean? So we're aware of the routes, like some of the other stuff that we do in town. Public transportation is a big thing, for development. I mean, obviously, it's not like being on a commuter rail in, going to Boston or being on a T in town in Boston. But, I think the LRTA does a great job. We have 2 different routes in Chelmsford, and each one is like 9 times a day throughout the whole town. So, if people need to get places, they can find a way.
This was interesting, but I was at a planning board meeting the other night where one of the residents got up, and their big objection to projects on Turnpike Road and 129 was that was going to bring LRTA buses down Turnpike Road, which I actually thought was a great thing, but it was mentioned as if it was like a dirty, terrible thing. No. And I thought that was actually...
I think they go down there anyway, Joe.
I think they already do, but why are we stopping public transportation from going...
They go all over the, there are 2 different routes. One that goes in through North Chelmsford all the way up to, now it's going to go to the Westford line. And then they'll come back down, go over Swain Road, go up Dunstable Road, and then back down Tingsboro Road. And then I think they both go at the Drum Hill Shopping Center.
My father has an LRTA stop outside his house.
Yeah, he does, right.
And he was able to utilize that before he totally went blind. But that's a great asset to have in your neighborhood. I mean, not that it has to be right outside your house, but if you can pick up a stop within, a certain distance.
Oh no, it's fantastic. I mean, if a lot of people, and then you can go into the terminal, and the Gallagher terminal in Lowell, and from there you can go anywhere. I mean, there's I think one every hour or something goes to the Burlington Mall area, which is for the working people who go and work in that area, so they can gain public transportation from Lowell to Burlington. To the Burlington Mall, people who work in the mall or surrounding offices or what have you, there's some stops down that way, or to the Leahy Clinic. So, I mean, we have, I had a developer contact me about 129, and the person lived in town, and they worked for a big company, and the developer from, the greater Boston area. And they said, would you help out? I live in town, and I'd like to help the town. I said, great. I said, I'll introduce you to, the people and whatever. And then I got a call back a week later. He said, no, we're going to stay on public transportation. I said, well, wait a minute. I said, what's wrong with the 129 corridor? That's got plenty of public transportation. We got the LRTA, and you get the North Billerica train station, and you get the Lowell train station. And believe me, I know you're on the committee, and anybody else that's affiliated with the project down there. I mean, that's the biggest project we have. So if we have to get a shuttle bus running, every hour or wherever, whatever, if we can get the right companies to come in and the right projects or developments, I don't think transportation is going to be a problem at all. I mean, I remember talking to Kronos at one time, and they were talking about they were having a hard time getting people from Boston coming up to work here. And I said, well, we'll offer a shuttle, right to North Billerica Station, in the morning and take them back at night, And they appreciated it, but for some reason it just didn't work out. It didn't go any further. I guess it's because he really felt that. They were having trouble. I don't know why, because it's a great company, and look how big they got and how much money. It's a giant company now. You know what I mean? And it's very successful.
Well, you never know people's motivations from ties to other building owners, ties to the area.
Oh, no question. Right. In their case, I think he just wanted to be in one building. I mean, there was no question about it. They took a tower and they were adding 400,000 square feet to it down here. There was refitting additional 400,000 square feet. So it's a question of them being all in the same building. It was, I mean, they were here for 17 years. We gave them a TIF. I mean, they don't have any problems at all. He offered for us to work with one of their investors, which is Blackstone, the Blackstone Group, and this is Mr. Aaron Ain, the CEO, and whatever, he'd be happy to speak to anybody. Tell him how he was happy with the town of Chelmsford, just kind of outgrew it a little bit, you know. Maybe if we had caught it a little earlier, or knew about it a little earlier, we might have been able to do the overlay district and put up our own 9 to 10-story building then, and maybe they would have just moved across the street. I don't know the answer to it. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not.
You can always shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we've all played sports or whatever. And, you know, if you had done this, or if you had bunted, or they hadn't, you know, whatever. So.
Speaking of sports, I wanted to ask, you know, the golf tournament's coming up.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, right. So,
right.
So
yeah,
tell us details about that.
Yeah, it's at Butterbrook. It starts at 8 o'clock, I think it is, and Butterbrook up on the Westford Acton line. It's the Alumni Golf Association. I missed the alumni's doing a lot of nice things for people. Last night I missed, and I happened to pick up somebody this morning and gave him a ride. And he said, "Oh, my daughter got a scholarship last night." I said, "Oh man, I missed it. I was supposed to make a presentation, to be very honest." And so when Mr. Simone and Terry McShee or somebody sees me in wine, they'll give me the. But I picked up some stuff for them, so they'll be happy. But we'll see. But no, I think they have the largest turnout they've ever had. Hopefully they'll have some good weather. Everybody has a good time. And I think it's starting to be a much more active alumni association than it's ever been, you know.
That's great.
And a lot of the younger people are getting involved, you know. And that's what we need in this town. I've always said it, and no matter what we talk about, you have to get the younger people involved. I mean, that's old dinosaurs. You just can't, you know. You don't get it anymore. Like
One of the things I like about
like my kids always said, "Hey, Dad, that's technology. Don't you understand?" No, I don't.
Well, what I like about it is Simone, and just a great person, but he, you know, he pushed to really have, you know, really an academic and all-encompassing Hall of Fame versus just an, you know, a sports Hall of Fame. You know, I know you were all sports.
It was because of my academic abilities and some of my things that I'd invented.
Best base stealer.
Some of my patents and things like that. Yeah, that's why I get into it. I guess I get in because I was on a committee or something. I don't know.
I think they brought you in because you can raise the most bread for the alumni.
That might have been the reason. It probably was. You know what I mean? I don't know, but it's very active, and there's a lot of good people on there. There's a lot of great people. It's amazing, and you know that we have a little limo service. You know, we've had a lot of help from a lot of friends helping us find clients and to do, you know, take our service and whatever. And I've got to know a lot of people that I had never known. And I mean, we have a lot of very bright people in this town, very successful people. Some people, you know, I can see a lot of people, they're very busy with their job and they can't get involved a lot of times in a lot of different things in town, which I've always said, you know, we have a lot of people with ability, and if they'd only take some of their ability and just donate 5% of their time or their free time, if they could, just to help out with one committee or just come up with some ideas and whatever, because especially people who do a lot of traveling, they see how, you know, everything, you know, traveling I think is the best education there is anyway, because you see so many different variations of things being done, you know.
Well, my brother travels a lot, and it's, you know, he's a town meeting rep, but you know, even, you know, his work could take him that week. The town meeting is in session, so you have to just, you know, do your best and, you know, see if you get, even if you give a little bit of time, it's better than.
Oh yeah, and I think you feel better. I think people that get involved are happy that they have gotten involved. And those, you know, those that don't, they just don't know what they miss. I mean, it's an opportunity, you know, 15 minutes of, I don't want to say 15 minutes of fame, but, you know, you got to feel good about yourself. You've helped the town. And now you'll see, you know, how maybe it isn't quite so easy to get things done. People think, well, this can change and that can change. And sometimes there's a lot of red tape that goes with things that they don't understand, you know. And that doesn't mean because they're not smart enough. It's just that they haven't been involved in them. You know,
it's just like being a parent. like I said.
I was watching the Board of Selectmen meeting the other night. They were giving a presentation on stormwater management. What's the direction with that, and is that going to be starting to roll out and be implemented? Or?
Yeah, I think so. As you know, the town meeting cut the projections down almost in half. But I think, Paul will talk to it, and they'll get, and it might be the right way of doing it. Everybody got hit quickly with it. It was a mandate that came up very kind of quickly, and so you try to put a budget together, a pro forma, whatever, and nobody knows really what they need, right? And so you don't know if you need 10 people or 15 people, whatever, so maybe you start off with a smaller number like we're doing, and we start out in one area, or you just do the major things and take off. If we didn't do it, we would have been fined. Now, some people say it's so much per day, some people say it was an annual fine, an annual, I don't know the answer, but it's, the government's got to stop mandating everything unless they want to start helping us with some money, because it's very difficult. That's why the 129, again, I keep coming back to that 129 overlay, and a couple other developments in town. Hopefully they'll be successful, and we'll put, another, $5 or $6 million on the tax rolls, actual revenue from that, which will, decrease the taxes or stabilize the taxes. And I get it. I mean, I went to vote, and I'm up, and I meet 5, 6 classmates of mine the day I voted, and they said, Judge, I said, I can relate to you, because I know I'm basically was living on Social Security. I'm in fixed income, and I get it. So, they hit home this time, though. They really hit home, and I think we had spoken maybe 8 months ago here, about how important I thought never had run saying I was going to cut taxes, because I know how difficult it is to cut taxes. You can shave a few dollars here or there or whatever, but I mean, with all the fixed costs we have, and the benefit packages, and insurance continually going up, and the fixed costs are they're prohibitive. But and we're trying to provide the best education for the kids, which obviously is the best thing for your business and for the town, because it makes the town a place where people want to come to live.
Right.
And people get together through the kids and whatever, even though there's a small number of people who have kids, but you wouldn't, in the program, but you'd never know that when you go to a youth event, like if you go to the Little League, and then you go to the Pop Warner, and then you go to a proclamation ceremony for a scout, or an Eagle Scout ceremony, or watching a school play, or whatever. It's the kids are the strength of the town, the youth, and that's what we got to get, as they get involved, and the parents, who are they're the new homeowners, they're the younger, they're the real stakeholders of the town, and they will be for a long time, and those are the people that we have to hear from, and they have to get involved and say their piece. You don't have to agree with them. No one's going to agree with you all the time, but
let me tell you something. There's little Reddies coming up. And you should be afraid.
Well,
I am.
There's
get enough Reddies already, for goodness sake. But no, obviously your family's been great for a long time in town, and that's what it takes. And there's a lot of tradition in this town with families, with a lot of people. Anybody that's been here a long time, you take a lot of pride in this town. I'm not saying the people that just come in town don't take pride either, but there is a pride. There's a sense of pride with people who have lived here a long time.
Agreed.
That I think maybe it's hard for some of the newer people to understand in the beginning, and then I think after a while they say, "Wait a minute, now I understand it," because I see that when something goes wrong, if there's a problem, everybody kind of joins together and helps. They don't even necessarily have to like it, but if somebody needs help, they're going to give them that help. That's the type of people we have. We're very fortunate to have that type of person living in this town. So,
yeah, good. I think a good example of that was in the past. We had the issue with Wellman, the riverbank erosion.
Absolutely.
I know you were instrumental in bringing what, the Army Corps of Engineers, or
Yeah, and Jimmy Lane came on the board after I had been working there, and Dave McLaughlin came down with me, and it's only because I was the only one from North Chelmsford. It's not because I was any. But I mean, I got a call from some people that lived there, and they were friends, and went down, and Paul helped, and then, you know, and then we went down, the Bladder Dam people, you know, they were, all the other towns, some people from Lowell Town, Tingsboro, upstream, Nashua, whatever, they were all fighting, you know, the elevation of the river and things like that. So we got very involved, and we were going to meetings everywhere. People have no idea how many meetings we attended. And then when Jimmy came on the board, he's more into the engineering aspect of it, and he had been on the planning board, and he worked with NEMCOG, and as a result, we got him like a $2.5 million, I think it was a $2.5 million grant or bond. They have to pay some of the money, but it's taken a while. The money, they still haven't gotten their money yet. They're going to get it, but it's taken an awful long time, and I think that had an awful impact on the taxes and the value, obviously the value of their homes down there for a while. So,
but across the board, I mean, that's something that needed to get solved.
That was
for
great, yeah. And
all
then,
of
you know, we
Chelmsford.
did a lot of things, you know. I mean, like even at Scotty Hollow when they had problems with their electricity up there and their blackouts and brownouts for a few years. National Grid was great. We got the National Grid, and they came up and they replaced all their infrastructure up there. So, you know. And that's great because you have a lot of people who are retired and they're living by themselves, and you know, in the summer it was too hot and the winter was too cool. Well, they still have gas heat up there, but you know, whatever. It was just a few things, but yeah, I enjoy that constituent stuff, you know.
Well, I think that's what really people are looking for from their elected officials. If you ever listen to me on WCAP radio on Wednesday morning, I think that's really the heart of what you're in the office for, right? People have problems, they need somebody to solve them.
I think most of the people who do serve, you know, listen to the people. They try, you know, and they try to help out the best they can. Some are better than others, but everybody probably gives it as much effort, you know. So, you know, you may just know somebody because you went to school with them that's in a certain department, whatever. It could be anything, you know what I mean? Or you just might be there when you catch somebody who's able to go with you and take a look at it and say, we got a few months, let's take care of it right away. You know what I mean? So, but
Well,
I mean, all in all, I think. And one guy I would like to mention while I'm talking about other people I've served with, you know, everybody said, you know, like Bob Joyce and I used to have beefs and whatever. But I would like to say he did receive his chair, and you know, I wish him well. You know, he did 10 years on the planning board, I believe, as well as 2 terms on the Board of Selectmen. So, I mean, you know, Bob had a lot of great ideas, you know. So, you know, I wish him well. I just want to say that. And, you know, I certainly don't have any problems with Bob. I mean, he may have some with me, but, you know, it's not easy to go every other Monday night and work with the, you know, people and agree all the time on things, you know. It just isn't, you know. And what happens in any town, you have a lot of people who only get concerned with things in their own neighborhood, you know.
Exactly.
You know, some people, you know, we had the asphalt plant in North Chelmsford. Well, people in East Chelmsford they still don't know what it, you know, and I'm not knocking the people in the East, but then we had the big thing about the piece on Carlisle Street the other night, and people from Carlisle Street came out. There wasn't anybody from any other part of town that was there to sit for it or against it, you know. So that's the only thing that sometimes bothers me a little bit, is people only get involved when it's in their backyard. They maybe through their town meeting reps, they should maybe get more involved or something.
Right.
I don't know, but.
Well, we got to wrap up because we
Good.
got one more guest, but we
Well,
appreciate
yeah, and you know
coming
what?
on.
He'll tell you everything there is to know about growing anything you want to grow, and you know, nutrition. You name it. He'll probably show you how to take that. He'll have some ideas about that.
Well, thank you, George. We
Thank you.
appreciate it,
Thank you.
and stay classy, my friend.
Okay, thank you.